All right, so now I have another example for you, and I've made us a very long number down here with my cards. So I took some of the blue and the green cards, and I've made myself a whole part of a number, and I made myself a decimal part. So the reason why I like these cards is because it helps us write in expanded form, because we're looking at each piece of the number, each digit separately. So I'm going to write here because this is my number so far. So it's going to take me a while to write it because it's very large. So just the whole number part first. That's why it's separated into its own box. So I write the whole number first. And this number is 2,561. That's how I would write the number. So I'm going to write it exactly like that. 2,000. And then I put in a comma because I have a comma. And then the next part is 561. Now I don't put an and here. There's no and. The and doesn't come in until we write the decimal. That's where we put the and. So then I write and, so 2,561, and that's the decimal point. And then I'm going to write this whole part, the 8, 4, and 7, as one number. So if I wrote this as a number without the decimal, if I thought about what this was, I would read this as 847. And that's what I'm going to do. And tells me I've got the decimal and 847. I don't put another and. The and is only for the decimal point. So 847. And then I'm going to name the place or the place value where I ended. And because this 8 is in the tenths, the 4 is in the hundredths, and the 7 is in the thousandths place because it's 1, 2, 3 digits after the decimal. My label is thousands. So in writing this whole number, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 digit number, I'll even bring it closer together right here, try to stack it up. It's a lot of pieces. I would say that this number reads 2,561 and 847 thousandths. That's how you would write this number in words. So now I want to take this number apart digit by digit and write this number in in word form. We've done. This is standard form. So now I'm going to write the number in expanded form. And the way that we do that is we're going to take the value of each digit. So I'm going to actually take my cards apart, and this is where these kind of come in handy, is I can see that the value of the 2 was not a 2. The value of this 2 is actually 2,000. So that's my first number. And then to that, the next digit was the 5. But it's not just a 5, it was 500 because it was in the hundreds place. So that's my next one. And then I wasn't looking at a 6, but a 60. And then my final digit was the 1. So the expanded form for this first part is 2,000 plus 500 plus 60 plus 1. And if I put those together, I would have 2,561. And that's the number that we started with. So when we put them back together, this is what it looks like in standard form. 2,561. Okay, now I have to do my decimal part. So my first decimal part is 8 tenths. So I'm going to put down 8 tenths. And then it wasn't just a 4 in the hundredth place. It actually had a value of 4 hundredths. And then my final number, my final digit was 7 thousandths. So that's my decimal piece. 8 tenths, 4 hundredths, and 7 thousandths. So we're writing each digit with the value that it has in its standard form. And that's how we end up writing 2,500 2,561 and 847 thousandths in expanded form. So the last way we're going to write this number, 2,561 and 847 thousandths, is we're going to write it in expanded form with powers of 10. So now I'm thinking about each of these as the digit times its value in the place value chart. So if you need to have your place value chart out, that's a really good thing to have. But I'm always going to start with the digit. The digit goes first. So I write down a 2. And that 2 was in the thousands place. So when the 2 is in the thousands place, it has a value of 1,000. So here's my digit 2, and it's in the thousands place, so I write 2 times 1,000, which is 2,000. Now I'm going to add that to the next place. I put parentheses, and the digit is a 5. Well, this isn't just 5 ones, this is 5 hundreds. So it is 5 times 100 because it's in the hundreds place. Any digit that's in the hundreds place has a value of that many hundreds. So this gives me 5 hundredths. I go on to the next place and the next digit, which is a 6. So I put my 6 down first. This is the digit times its place value. So 6 is in the tens place, so it's 6 times 10. Anything in the tens place has a value of 10. Then I have my next digit, which is a 1, and the 1 is in the ones place, so it is really 1 times 1, because anything in the ones place has a value of 1. So that's accounted for all of my numbers or all my digits to the left of the decimal point. That's my 2,561. If I multiplied these and added them together, I would get the same thing I did here and the same thing up here. But I have to keep going because I now have to account for the decimal portion of my number. So I'm going to go for the digit again, which is an 8. And I'm going to write down 8 times its 1/10 because it is in the tenths place. So 8 times 1/10. I'm going to add to that the next digit, which is a 4. So I put the 4 down first, and I multiply it by the value of its place. And the 4 is in the hundredths place, so I'm going to multiply it by 1/100th. Remember, these are parts of a whole, which is why we're multiplying them by a fraction, because they're going to get smaller. They're not as big as the rest. And then my last digit over here is the 7. So I write down the digit, which is the 7, times, it's in the thousandth place, so I multiply it by 1,000th, and that is my expanded form with powers of 10. 2 is in the thousands place, 5 is in the hundreds, 6 is in the tens, 1 is in the ones, the 8 is in the tenths place, the 4 is in the hundredths place, the 7 is in the thousandths place. I can use these to help me if I needed to write it in standard form, because this should be the last digit, and then this is going to be the largest or the first digit. So then I can help myself by plotting out those places just like we did earlier yesterday. So if 2 is in the thousands place, it means I have to have 2,000, and then there should be 3 digits after it because this is the thousands place. And then I know that I have 1,000th here, so that means I have to have these 3 places full. So if you're going from expanded form back to a standard form, I can now take and I look at the digits here to write it. So I have a 2 in the thousands place, I have a 5 in the hundreds place, I have a 6 in the tens place, a 1 in the ones place, 8 is behind the decimal in the tens place, 4 is in the hundredths place, and the 7, which is my very last digit, I don't have to go any farther, is in the thousandths place.